Yes, oh my god, the awakening process. Woo. Trippy. Oh my god. I was going insane, bro. I was going literally insane, didn't even know. How goes it, Jesse? It is good. It is good. Like 2020, really? You were at the beginning, bro. Oh my god. You made it, congrats. Thank you, man. I almost went to the hospital because of that, like psychosis stuff, like mental hospital. Bro, if I would have had family around me, I definitely would have. Oh yeah. Yeah, me too. I totally get that. Totally get that, bro. I was struggling. I didn't even know I was struggling. That was insane. For those new guys, I used to be like a spiritual influencer. That was way back in the day. Yeah, it was, you guys remember 2020, COVID? Everyone was on like spiritual TikTok. I don't know if you guys were involved in that, but everyone was on TikTok during COVID. And a lot of people were getting into like spirituality and, you know, like astrology, tarot, the universe stuff. Did you really, Meggers? Oh my gosh. And oh, you weren't? Okay, well, that's what was going on. It was called spiritual TikTok. And I ended up getting all of my followers that I have now, 120,000. I literally have not grown at all since then. My channel has stayed the exact same, 120,000. That's where all of my followers came from. But ironically, I'm doing better now. I'm doing better now, like financially. So I was living in a car. I was going off grid. We were traveling. We were gas jugging, and we were going around the corner, like around the country. And I just had so much free time that I would just think and think and think and think, and I would read these books, and it would just all go to my head, you know? And I would just be up in the clouds thinking about all these wild theories, and I was on Facebook a lot too then, by the way, which was not good for my mental health. This is kombucha. So, but yeah, that was a tough time for me. But I don't think everything was bad. I think like 80, I don't even know. I think a portion of it was like, was still true, because I still am deeply spiritual to this day, but I really don't talk about it as much. Yo, happy friend, what's up? It's so trippy because I do think some of it is real, but it doesn't help, right? Love and building best life you can do is what I got out of it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Happy friend was here during spiritual psychosis days. So every time I post, since I got out of psychosis in 2022, and since then, every time I post or go live, and just as time goes on, I've been consistently losing followers. But because I always post and go live, I always gain followers too, but not that many. So I basically have stayed the exact same for the last 3 years, 4 years. I'm like still not over it, bro. I don't think I'm fully over it either. There's still some questions that I have left to be fully answered, but I don't know if they will ever be answered. When it comes to things like that, that's weird about the followers thing. Yeah, I guess they don't like my new content. I guess they liked it when I was trippy and heady. And I'm talking more about like spiritual awakening and all that. And I'm like, today I'm like, what is spiritual awakening? What is that? What even is that? Like, how do you know you're in a spiritual awakening? I don't even know. Like, is it authentic or is it propaganda? Are you just being like psyoped, you know? Because it could just be a psyop, and you could just be in psychosis, and it's not real awakening, you know? And I think that's what a lot of us were experiencing. Hey Mel! So, and then the trend is over, you know, and then the psychosis fades, the psyop moves on to the next thing, and it's like, you're left with all these undone chords, and it's like, what was that? You have no answers. So, yo, what up? Guess what I got? Look at this. Brookie. So, these are really good. Vegan, gluten-free. Yeah. But yeah, I'm still deeply into the spirituality stuff, but I realize now the stuff that I was most interested in ended up being like Taoism and yogi philosophy. So I'm really interested in Chinese and Indian yogi philosophy, and like mystic arts, that kind of stuff. Taoist cultivation, Chinese cultivation, that kind of stuff. Philosophy is cool because it helps you with how you think so that you can explore spirituality, absolutely. Critical thinking and contemplating and the ability to remain grounded and having tools to like work your brain is necessary if you're gonna dive into spirituality. Otherwise you get lost. Yeah. Absolutely. Completely agree. I'm still very much into it. I'm just on now I'm like, so here's what the spirituality helped me realize, for those of you who wonder. Basically, spirituality for me is becoming authentic. And ultimately, I realize we're all one. I realize we're interconnected. I realize, you know, everything is the same thing. And we're gonna have to get off in a second. And I realize all that, and it's like, what is the point? What is the point? If nothing matters bad, but nothing matters good, you know, optimistic nihilism. And at that point, it's like, okay, so what is the point of spirituality then? Do we keep talking about spirituality? When do we start living the spirituality? And for me, that's where it ended. You know, that's where it ended for me. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and put this all on the shelf. I'm not gonna forget it, but I'm gonna put it on the shelf. And I'm gonna start living it. And so what I did was I used all of the ideas, the tools, everything that I had learned, and I'm like, who is me? Who am I? And what do I like? What resonates with me? What do I like to do? And so I used all that knowledge to pursue my authenticity. And my authenticity, the things that resonate with me, is being online, obviously, because I started being online. I like being online, I like posting content, but it doesn't have to be spiritual. That's the thing that really got me for a long time. I don't have to be spiritual, because before I was like really like dead set. I'm like, I really need these spiritual people to follow me. Now I'm like, man, I miss that, but I don't need that. You know, I just like being online. I like just being an authentic person. The people who shaped me and affected me and made me who I am, influenced me, they had a style, and I loved that style, and they didn't need to be spiritual, and neither do I. I don't need to project that. I am spiritual, but I don't need to tell people that I am, you know? Just being you authentically is inherently spiritual, right? Totally, that's what I forgot, yeah. I was highly influenced by Jenna Marbles and Julian Solomita. Highly influenced. And just everything in my life that kind of led me here, like I just couldn't get into a 9-to-5. I have business owner tendencies, ADHD, autism, and like I just everything just like led me to like following this passion. I'm like, well, there's not really anything left to do. You know, I really don't want to do anything else. I really just want to make videos and be online. How can I just do that? You know? And so I just started doing it. And I'm just like, how can I just live stream and make money from that? Like 3 years ago, I was like, how can I just do that? Was there like a name for that? Couldn't find anything. And I'm just like, let me just go live. You know, I was just like starting over on my live streaming, you know, content creation journey. Because I stopped posting for like 2 years. And let me just start again. And I started following these other creators. And one of them was Jay Gottlieb. If you know, I know Happy Friend knows who Jay Gottlieb is. They're really cool. She's really cool. And she's a full-time live streamer. And that was the first time I've ever heard that term. So she influenced me. And I was just like, you know what? Let me just hit the go live button and just say I'm a full-time live streamer. You know, that's going to be my goal. And now I am. Yeah, I love Jay. She's fucking great, bro. So that's what I'm doing. And now, been doing it for like a year and a half. Every night, I went live cooking in my car. That was my thing. Then we got a minivan. Then we went to Mexico. Mexico didn't work out. Now we're in the Philippines. Here we are. You know, and from the time I started to here was so fucking long, bro. So fucking long. Back when I was spiritual, time was like this. I'm like, oh, it's like this? Oh, it's, what day is it? What day is it? I don't even know. Now I feel every second, bro. I'm always here. I'm like, oh my God, time is so slow. So, I don't know. I've just been really consistent with what I want. I don't really know how to use like the laws, you know, the spiritual laws, like law of attraction and all that, law of polarity and law of opposites and everything. And it's just like, you know, I tried and like, I don't really know how they work, but I definitely see things coalesce at certain like points, like a nexus, and we start seeing like signs or whatever, but I don't really pay attention to signs anymore. I kind of just do what I do, and if things happen to like synchronize, I'm just like, that's great, I'm already doing that, you know? Exactly. Everywhere you go, there you are. I like the song there. I gotta repaint the colors. The lie is wearing off. Paint it, meaning new layer of psyop. That's what I got. I feel like society, there's like these organic things that build in society, and then when the masses get too close to the truth, psyop, and then everyone gets confused, and then it goes away, it goes under the consciousness, you know? There's not as much momentum. And then a few years later, you know, we flatline as a society. And then a few years later, you know, maybe 3 to 10 to 20 to 100 or whatever it is. And then later, we come back up to this point where it's like, we're getting too known. We know things too much, right? Psyop, another layer of paint, so to speak. And confuses and scatters everyone. I noticed that with, it's not just psyops, but I noticed that with veganism. Veganism, regardless of how you feel about it, veganism peaked 2019, 2020, right? It was a thing. It was a growing thing up until those 2 years. And then that was the peak. And then what happened after that? Carnivore diet, keto diet, all these things started cropping up, and they're like, you know, and then the misinformation about like the seed oils, and you know the plant meat is not good because it's processed. And it's like, bro, you're like, the meat is processed. Like, what do you mean? And they started putting all this stuff in your head, and it's like veganism started going down. Impossible. You guys remember Impossible Meat? Beyond Meat? That was fucking peak. And then it just started going. And now, look, that was like meat industry propaganda started making it go back down and not as popular. But now it's making a return. It's making a return. And then you see Billy really sparked some controversy when she said, if you know, she heard the infamous line, I don't know if you've heard it, but if you eat meat, you can't say you love animals. And I'm not going to debate that, but she said that and it really stirred up the crowd. And that's organic growth and interest in the topic. And now you hear these conversations rising back. You know, you have this re-rise of like vegan interest again. And it's really interesting. It's really interesting to see that. And it happens with every area, not just veganism. It happens with spirituality, it happens with everything. Now you see the conspiracies about, you know, these conspiracy theories, and then the e-files dropped. And it's like, bro, that's what all these crazy conspiracy theories, all the shit that we were believing back in psychosis, bro, it's true. It was literally all true. Like, these billionaires, bro, they're on the island doing stuff. They're doing stuff, right? But they're eating pizza, but they're also trying to figure out the fucking secrets of the universe. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? You know? That almost put me back into psychosis for a second, back in February. Yeah, so maybe it wasn't psychosis. That's why I'm like, I don't know if I'm over it yet, you know? Maybe I was right, at least about some of it, you know? I didn't get what it means, but it makes sense to me. Psyop could be used as a wide range of different conditioning behaviors. Sorry, not to play with your mind. You're on a good track. No, you're fine. You're fine. No, I think that was super organic. I gotta get a charger.